Littering has been a huge problem not just in Australia but the whole world for the past few decades as people feel it is okay to drop their rubbish wherever they feel like it. Nearly all litter ends up in the ocean, harming many animals and sea creatures along the way. Although littering is still happening today and hundreds of fines are being handed out each year, the number of fines for littering has actually decreased as the years have gone by. In 2014, in the month of June, the state of had 233 fines handed out to the community, whereas now in 2018, in the month of June, the amount of fines handed out in Victoria has nearly dropped by 80 fines. This is a small improvement for the state of Victoria, as they are making small progressions each year to reduce the amount of littering and fines that have been handed out. Though the amount of fines handed out for littering are going down, it is still not stopping people from dropping their rubbish on the floor and might never. But this is a small win for the people in the state of Victoria. This data may not be 100% accurate, but it is projected that by the year of 2026, littering fines will be completely eliminated and people might actually put their rubbish in the bin. The data I have collected and researched for littering fines issued for all three states have a trend of being negatively correlated and is spread moderately on the graph. The data is also an example of extrapolation. There are no outliers in the graph, and hopefully by the years 2025, 2027, and 2028, there will be no more littering fines issued in the states of Western Australia, Victoria, and New South Wales.
Deforestation is the clearing of forests or strands of trees where the land is after converted into non-forest use. Deforestation includes conversion of forest lands to farms, ranches, or urban use. As shown, the worst it has ever been, as seen on my graph, was in 1995, where 19,500 kilometers of forests were cut down. It started off in 1980 with 10,000 kilometers of forest being cut down. It has gotten better since then, and it will gradually get better by 2050, but there's still a lot of forest being cut down.
The Earth's climate has changed throughout history. Just in the last 650,000 years, there have been 7 cycles of glacial advance and retreat, with the abrupt end of the last ice age about 7,000 years ago marking the beginning of the modern climate era and of human civilization. Most of these climate changes are recognized due to very small variations in the Earth's orbit that change the amount of solar energy the planet receives. In 1990, sea levels were recorded at a level of 12.9 millimeters due to the change in climate temperature. It has begun melting ice caps all over the world, causing sea levels to rise with an astonishing 86.3 millimeters being recorded in 2015. Due to the change in climates over the years, the temperature of the sea has also changed, from 0.44 degrees Celsius in 1990 to a staggering 0.87 degrees Celsius in 2015. This might not seem like a huge change to us humans, but to the sea life and many species and their habitats, it's huge. The data that I've collected and researched for sea levels and sea temperature both have a trend of being positive, correlated, and is spread out moderately along the graph and is also an example of extrapolation. There is one outlier contained inside the data for sea temperature, but there are no outliers contained inside the data for sea levels. The temperature and level of the sea are always going to continue rising, with sea temperatures projected to hit a staggering 1.45 degrees Celsius and sea levels hitting a staggering 190 millimeters by 2050. We as humans can reduce the rate of sea levels and sea temperatures rising.
Volatile organic compounds are emitted gases from certain solids, like environmental tobacco smoke, stored fuels, paint supplies, or automobile emissions. Volatile organic compounds have been found to be a major contributing factor to the production of ozone, a common air pollutant that has been proven to be a public health hazard. Its chemicals can have a short-term and long-term health effect. Breathing pollutant air can put you in a higher risk for asthma and other respiratory diseases. Studies by the EPA have found that levels of volatile organic compounds are 2 times higher indoors than outdoors. During several hours immediately of activities, such as paint stripping, levels may be 1,000 times background outdoor levels. Sulfur pollution affects the environment, polluting the air, causing deforestation when sulfur dioxide combines with water and air, creating sulfuric acid, which is known as acid rain. The pollutant isn't toxic to humans, but is a choking, irritating gas and has uses as a disinfectant. It is primarily emitted from fossil fuels combustion at power plants and other industrial facilities, as well as fuel combustion in mobile services such as locomotives, ships, and other equipment. The data also shows a negative correlation with no outliers, showing that sulfur pollution is decreasing, but even with the strategies put together to stop it from getting worse, it's still going to be a harmful pollutant in our environment.